what this is. The quest. And everyone has a part to play. Sometimes the quest can be scary. And when it gets close to the end, that's when it gets really scary.
Help me, Elgin. I can save all of you. I can help you go back home. This wasn't just a random nightmare. This was a dream I had over and over.
Can we maybe figure out what we're gonna do now?
I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what's wrong.
Then figure it out!
Do you feel that?
We should go.
Oh, I want to check it.
Hey, stop.
You feel it?
What is up, From fans? Jeremy Eisenfire here, and welcome to the channel. As we head into the back half of Season 3, it looks like we have some very interesting storylines set to play out over the final 4 episodes, and with us inching closer and closer to that finale, I get the feeling we are finally on the verge of getting some real answers. And looking ahead at the trailer for Episode 7, entitled These Fragile Lives, I also get the feeling that we are getting closer and closer to losing at least one more beloved character before the season ends. And as we take a look at the episode synopsis for Episode 7 and Episode 8, it looks like we are on the verge of yet another tragedy, leading me to believe that we could get another big character death in Episode 7. The trailer starts off with Elgin receiving yet another message from the kimono creature, as she is not only asking Elgin for help, but telling him that she can help him and everybody else get home. As we see Elgin beginning to make his way down into the famous root cellar in Fromville that has been at the center of so many supernatural phenomenon. And it seems like him finding a Polaroid of the root cellar is what beckoned him there in the first place. And this root cellar has been a pretty interesting fixture on the show ever since very early on, with it not only being the place where Jade had his very first vision of the symbol, but also the same location where Boyd had a vision of the ballerina, but also happened to be the location that spit Julie out at when she went through her faraway tree after her and Victor escaped the Colony House massacre. And now with it being Elgin's turn, it should be pretty interesting to see what kind of supernatural encounters he has down in this root cellar as well, as I get the feeling there is definitely something waiting down there for him. But when it comes to the kimono creature, I am starting to get a little bit more suspicious of its intentions. At first, I was wondering if this thing really just did need help from Elgin. Maybe it was stuck in some kind of death echo and it was needing help to move on, perhaps. But now I'm not so sure, as it seems like the methods that the kimono creature is employing is the same tantalizing possibility of escape that the voices were promising Sarah into getting her to do their bidding. If we remember back to Season 1, Sarah was presented with a pretty similar offer from these voices as well, stating that if she helps them, it will lead to her and everybody else finally being able to go home. So whatever this kimono entity has in store for Elgin, I get the feeling it is not going to be to his or the town's benefit, and I certainly don't believe it's going to lead to all of them being able to go home. But either way, I am definitely looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out in the end, and I'm very impressed with the storyline that they have given to Elgin in Season 3 in particular. It definitely feels like they are fleshing this character out a whole lot more this season compared to Season 2. But next, the trailer cuts to Tabitha speaking with Jim, stating that this was no mere nightmare that she was having, but a dream that was reoccurring over and over again. As we see Tabitha, Jade, Jim, and Ethan arriving at the 3 red stones, the same stones that were in Tabitha's dream, and the same stones where Jade had his last vision as well. Which makes me wonder what kind of answers are going to be waiting for them when they do eventually arrive here, and what is Tabitha hoping to glean from being here at all? Is she hoping to maybe unlock some other kind of repressed memory or dream she didn't know she had? After all, when Miranda was having dreams of Fromville, she was seeing multiple different things over the course of a very long time, yet so far, Tabitha seems to only remember this one reoccurring dream that she had. Or could it potentially even lead to Jade himself having yet another vision, as it's certainly starting to look more and more like he and Tabitha's storylines are going to be intercrossing quite a lot. Especially with them being the only 2 characters that have ever seen the Ankui children, which did make an appearance again in Episode 6. And with them all heading back out to the ruined settlement, you start to wonder, are they going to have to spend another night in these cabins, as usually it is too far away from the town to go there and back in daylight. And if so, are we finally going to find out what exactly is prowling around outside in this ruined settlement at night that has been knocking on the cabins not once, but both times they were there? And could it potentially even be the same being that scared the daylights out of the little girl in Tabitha's dream? Or will they leave us with yet another cliffhanger? But next, we cut to Boyd and Christy inside the medical clinic, with Boyd asking her what exactly we do next, with Christy being dumbfounded as she doesn't really know what's wrong with Fatima, so she has no idea how to proceed, with Boyd urging her to figure it out. Whatever is going on, it certainly seems like they are heading into some uncharted territory, as I imagine there is no medical manual in Fromville for supernatural pregnancies, or lack thereof. As we found out in episode 6, the ultrasound revealed that there was nothing growing inside Fatima, which begged the question, just what exactly is happening to her? But it certainly looks like her condition is continuing to worsen. As we take a look at the episode 7 stills, we see her returning to the greenhouse to chomp down on some more rotten food, followed by another shot of her in her room getting treated with some kind of IV by Mari. Now, of course, there have been many different fan theories going around as to what could potentially be happening to Fatima. Everything from her potentially turning into a monster herself, which I suppose could potentially be the case. After all, there seems to be some kind of delicate balance happening inside Fromville. Every time we lose a human or two, a new human or two arrives to take their place, which is making me wonder if the same kind of balance might exist on the side of the monsters. After all, we did see Boyd take out one of the monsters in Season 2 with the death of Smiley. R.I.P. Smiley, by the way. But could this potentially mean that now the monsters need to replenish their ranks and replace the one they lost? And then, of course, there's the theory that Fatima is indeed still pregnant, yet the ultrasound simply wasn't able to pick it up, as it might be supernatural in origin. Could there be something still growing inside her and our human instruments just simply aren't able to see it? And with there still being so much that we don't know about the general nature of this place, I suppose anything could be possible. But wherever this is heading, I get the feeling it is not going to end very well for all the parties involved. Either Fatima or Ellis, or potentially both of them, may be on the chopping block. And if Fatima herself is potentially turning into some kind of otherworldly creature, could we potentially see a scene that mirrored Boyd's in Season 1, where now Ellis is forced to take out Fatima to save Boyd, maybe? Just as Boyd was forced to kill his wife to save his son? Which would be a very bleak outcome, no doubt, but would certainly have some poetic symmetry to it considering the history there, and considering how history tends to repeat here in Fromville. One shot did come off a little bit ominous in episode 6 when Fatima and Ellis were sitting on the couch, and the monster hands behind Fatima seemed to be reaching out towards her and towards Ellis. Was that just simply a coincidence, or could that have been some kind of foreshadowing? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but either way I get the feeling this is not going to end well. But then the trailer ends with a shot of Julie and Randall approaching the ruins, the same ruins that they were held captive in at the end of Season 2, and the same location where Boyd first encountered Martin and the worms. And it seems like as soon as they are getting close to its vicinity, both Randall and Julie are feeling something inside of them, as we hear Julie ask Randall if he can feel it as well, with her seemingly wanting to check out these ruins a little bit closer, but Randall wants nothing to do with them. And it did almost seem like something was maybe drawing them there to these ruins for some kind of reason. And as we've seen so far in Season 3, it seems like this whole cicada problem that Randall, Julie, and Mari were going through isn't quite over yet. As Randall has not only been seeing these cicadas once again, but Julie has clearly been dealing with some kind of trauma ever since the event. And one thing we still don't know is what exactly was happening to them in this cicada coma. Yes, we know that they were taken captive by this entity, but we have no idea what the endgame of this entity was, and what they were truly doing to Julie, Randall, and Mari. The only information we ever truly received was when Sarah was communicating directly with this entity, when she states that by the time they are dead, it will be too late. But too late for what exactly still remains to be seen. And part of me is glad that this whole cicada storyline is continuing a little bit in Season 3, as it did feel a little anticlimactic at the end of Season 2, as we didn't really get any definitive answers. But either way, I get the feeling that these ruins are going to play some kind of vital part before the season ends. And then, of course, there is still the whole Victor, Henry, and Jasper storyline that is still yet to play out as well. In episode 6, we see Victor and Henry descend down into the caves to recover this puppet Jasper, which they successfully do, just by the skin of their teeth. But now the question is, how exactly will Victor activate this puppet and get him to tell this mysterious story that he told Christopher all those years ago, again? Whatever the case may be, I have very high hopes of some kind of big revelation coming from this puppet. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Boyd is going to be getting into over these last 4 episodes as well. His storyline has been relatively quiet over the last few episodes, ever since we first heard him declare that he was going to try and trap one of the monsters, a storyline that we have seen no more progress on ever since. But I'm really hoping they return to that storyline before the season ends, and we do eventually see Boyd try to trap one of these monsters. But here we have it, folks. Episode 7 is just around the corner now, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what exactly kind of big revelations they have in store for us during the rest of the season, especially when we get to episodes 9 and 10, which are suspiciously titled Revelations Part 1 and Part 2. So I get the feeling something pretty big is going to be coming before the season ends. But that is going to do it for our Episode 7 trailer breakdown entitled These Fragile Lives. And definitely leave your thoughts and predictions for Episode 7 down in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit a like on your way out and consider subscribing to stay up to date on all of our upcoming content. And until next time, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and I will see you on the next one.
Help me, Elgin. I can save all of you. I can help you go back home. This wasn't just a random nightmare. This was a dream I had over and over.
Can we maybe figure out what we're gonna do now?
I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what's wrong.
Then figure it out!
Do you feel it?
We should go.
I want to check it.
Hey, stop.
You feel it?
Okay, ding dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire, you're gonna spend the night in the box.